Well, yesterday morning I woke up to a very pretty sunrise, and I knew it was going to get warm, so I kind of prepared for it. I had to get my son off to college, first day of college. My youngest son, I'm now an empty nester. It's kind of a strange feeling, but we got back home and all of a sudden the weather changed. This wind blew up last night, just out of nowhere. Just suddenly the wind was blowing the trees, and then the sky lit up. Thunder and lightning like I had never seen before up here. And the fear of fires is really strong in my mind. So I went out at 2 o'clock in the morning and I was watching the lightning strike, and then one big one went off right over my head. And then the next morning, everything was beautiful again. It was as if nothing happened. It's still hot. It was 106 yesterday. I expect it to get even hotter today. I don't know. It's just times feel kind of apocalyptic. Do you guys get that feeling? Saturday morning, bright and early. Beautiful sunrise. Did a little bit of a time lapse here with my GoPro. I set it out on the fence post, and that was kind of interesting. I haven't done a time-lapse sunrise before. Movement was kind of funny, but it was nothing told me what was to become. This was interesting. This was a picture that a friend of mine sent of what he called a roll cloud over in Santa Cruz. I've never seen anything like it. I did attend a conference Friday morning, and it was very, very good. A friend of mine sent me these images from Iowa. They had an event out there that they called a derecho. 116 mile an hour wind blew through Iowa all the way to Chicago, knocked down trees everywhere. And a lot's going on up here too. We had a fire incident, and been nervous. So let's go back in time. Monday. This was the first job. This got into a palm tree job. We had 13 of these date palms to prune. The problem was we had all these dates. It was the same job I did last year. We had 2 buckets in there. I was in one, Jorge was in the other, and we had to get rid of all the dates out of these things. Nightmare job. Tuesday we had a removal. It was a great big dead oak tree. It was a live oak. Had a little tiny bit of life in it, but it was almost all dead and it was all rotten at the base. The problem with this tree is it was down in a hole, which made it particularly difficult. We hired a new ground worker and we put him through the motions. It was kind of a tough job. There was a lot of interesting things happening, like those ants. There was a lot of ant pockets in this tree. So between Jorge and myself, we kept splitting up. And he got up there with a bucket, I had the other bucket, and we were kind of roping together. Like I said, we had this hole down in here, and we had all this wood that we had to keep out of the hole. So new guy was doing okay. Didn't quite have the hang of it. Didn't quite figure it out. But this was just his second day on the job. And, got him doing all this kind of stuff. He's he's a big guy, but he's pretty darn strong. I was really impressed with him. And then we go on to the end of the week. We did 2 days that were kind of non-eventful jobs, but this was an interesting job. We had 4 pistache trees that we had to work on. They were old pistache, and they were full of breaks and tears. Trees were over the road and over the house, so we had to do significant weight reduction. And one of the obstacles we had, it was an old house that was built about 1960, had this big corner window, and I could imagine if anything broke and hit that roof that it would cause the window to just explode. It would just pop right out. And the homeowner was quite worried about it. There's the trunk of one of the trees in the sidewalk, and we had to rope everything down. It all went well. but the branches were a lot heavier than I thought. They had all those seed pods in them from the Chinese pistache. Pistachia chinensis. Very brittle trees. We have a lot of failures with this tree, and you've probably seen in some of my other videos how they oftentimes will split or break out limbs. So I was doing the roping here and holding the camera with my other hand. Most of the branches were pretty light, and it was pretty straightforward. So I had Eric over there working the ground, and then we got into some little bit bigger branches up over the roof. Deciding how much weight to take out of the tree is always a challenge. You want to leave the tree looking good, but you want to make sure that it's not going to fail after you're through pruning. So this was a big one. This was a really big cut. I probably should not have done that with one hand. It was a little bit more than I expected. There it is on the ground. It was quite heavy. So that was our job on Friday. We did at least 10 times that much brush. And originally the property owner said, just cut the brush, I'll take care of it myself. And I didn't want to do that. I can't work around the brush and keep consistently keeping up with it. Oh, this is interesting. He had a couple of dwarf apples here, and he asked me about continuing to train these trees in an espalier manner. The trees were just loaded with apples. They were so heavy that branches were ready to break. And if you understand espalier, you have to have something to train them to, either a fence or wires or something that keeps up the shape. So my recommendation to him was to start by getting rid of a lot of the apples. And he was reluctant to do it because the apples were all coming ripe. So I reached over and picked one of them, and boy, sure enough, that's one of the earliest apples I've seen this year. It was delicious. They were small, but there was just way too many. There you can see the branches bending, ready to break. So learning how to train an espalier is not too complicated, but it requires some sort of a structure that you work to. That was my breakfast apple. I traded this guy for a new climbing saw. This is your new climbing saw.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, right. That's pretty crazy, huh?
Yeah.
He says that's from 1968.
So what?
Well, yeah, I don't.
15 pounds. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Nice.
the model came out in '68, I think. Yeah.
That thing is a classic. 085.
08S, it's an S.
Oh, that's an AS. 08S.
Yeah,
Wow.
I just had to replace that piece right there. The original one was into the that one they just put a plate on it, but the other one is the original side cover over here was
How'd you find parts for it?
just on eBay.
Oh, wow.
The one that my grandfather had is actually part of the mold. You know, it says 08S, but this one's been this is a later one.
So that was 3 days from last week. The other two jobs, Wednesday and Thursday, they were just general backyard shape-ups, and it really didn't seem anything exciting enough to even bother to video. But because of the heat this week, every single day has been a real challenge. And then wrap it up with that thunderstorm we had last night, and they say there's a 20% chance of another thunderstorm tonight. It has been definitely strange, to say the least. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate all the comments that you guys consistently give me, and a lot of you guys are consistent commenters. I see your same names come up over and over again, and I do thank you for that. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. You know, the thumbs up helps out. You know, there's a bunch of ways that YouTube features my videos, and the more comments and the more attention they get, the more they'll put the videos up front. So once again, thanks a lot. And you be safe out there and try to stay cool.